Hi, this is video number 62. It's only been a few days since I was on here, so that's a good thing because I wasn't sure. I wanted to get on here yesterday, but then I was so tired from working outside. It was very hot here yesterday. I was doing like yard work and digging up some of the sod in the yard, and I just was like really exhausted, so I didn't make it. So I'm here today. I just finished my workout, the one I do Mondays and Fridays now. Switching to 2 days is a good idea because I feel pretty good right now. A little tired. Did the vacuuming too, which is something I did all through my withdrawal on Fridays. It was torture, but I did it. Okay, we're going to get my grandson here in a little while. He's going to come over for a few hours. He's at preschool. Um, I call him Oog. When he was a baby, he had one of those toys that you press the paw and it would like say something. And one of the things was, let's say something silly like oogly boogly. So I called him oogly boogly for a while. And then as he got older, I shortened it to Oog. And in my book, if anybody's read it, that the fictional name of the place, the psych hospital that I was in, was Oogden Psychiatric Institute or something like that. Or no, Institute of Psychiatry, that's what it was. Oogden, it comes from that's actually from my grandson, the Oog part of it. So that's kind of cool. He's a very cool little guy. He's 5 years old now. There was a time after I started feeling well from withdrawal. There was a day he was about one or so. He couldn't walk yet, but he could crawl. And in our family room we have 6 steps that go up into the kitchen, and I would never let him sit on there by himself. And a lot of times when I would play with him, in the mornings, a little bit down there. I would get tired and I would sit in my easy chair, and he didn't like that. He would go over to the steps and crawl up to the top step and just look at me like, I know you have to come and get me because you're not going to let me up here. So anyway, I was up there like the one morning. I was feeling pretty well, and I remember sitting there and I said to him, and this was like really weird, thank you for coming to rescue me. It was like he was sent here because after I started feeling well, he really, really helped me. And he stared at me, and he just looked me in the eye, and it's like he knew what I was saying. It was just really, really strange. I don't know what that has to do with what I'm going to talk about here, but anyway, okay, Wednesday night, I went out with a friend. His name is Harold. I mentioned him in the book a good bit. He helped me through a lot of what I went through from the beginning in 1997 up till now even. A lot of times Wednesday nights we'll go out and have something to eat, and we'll go back to his place, listen to some music. This particular Wednesday night was really good. I've been gaining some weight. I put some pants on the other day, and I can barely get them buttoned, so I thought I better lose some weight here. So I'm on this no carb diet for about 5 days now. So we went out and had ribs. We each got like 4 rack of ribs. Sorry if you're vegetarian. I love ribs. And we sat there and talked and told stories. Like I've never been one to tell a lot of stories. I've never really been interested in people's stories. But since I got well, I want to hear about people's lives, like from years ago, and even I like to tell my stories now. It's kind of fun, and I enjoy it. That's something that withdrawal has done for me. I'm very interested in other people's stories now, not just withdrawal stories, but and he told me a lot of the stories about his dad had passed away a number of years ago, and he doesn't think a lot about his dad, but we got into some of the old dad stories. My father's been gone a long time, and just like funny stories that we laughed and had a good time. So that was really cool. Harold, I'll tell you a little bit about him. It's in the book, but in 1997 when I started on psych drugs, and I had a horrible. I had a year and a half of like polydrugging. It was absolutely miserable. But there was a night, I was driving my wife crazy, and there was a night, I think it was in 1998. I was really, really bad. She decided Harold and his wife, whom he is now divorced from, should come over and talk because Harold needs to help Dawn because like Dawn's driving me crazy. So They came over and it was decided Thursday nights Harold and I would go out and do something, like, which I didn't want to do that because I was having panic attacks and anxiety. I was afraid. I was in a really, really bad place. But Thursday nights we would go out, and he would. I remember the first night we went to it was like a coffee shop, and I had some hot chocolate. It was like just across the road from where I live, and I sat there and I was shaking visibly. I was just so scared. I was cold. He did all of the talking. He didn't even care if I didn't talk. He didn't. He's really, really an excellent friend. And so anyway, he helped me get through that. And when I started feeling well in the beginning of 1999, I was starting to feel well from that year and a half of drugging. I remember one night we went to have barbecue chicken wings, and afterwards he told me, he said, you may not want to meet with me now because I have some bad news. And I thought, well, what's this? And he was, he was separating from his wife and getting divorced, and he didn't know how I would take that. And I said, well, I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not, to me, it's not something like I'm going to shun you or something. Anyway, after that, I was getting very, very good. I was still on Klonopin at the time, but I was much, much better than the year and a half of poly drugging before. And he started going downhill, getting depression and like having like suicidal thoughts at times. And in 1999, it was his bad year, and I was there for him. I was there for him, and I helped him through that, and he got through that. And then since then, he got the divorce. He visited Vietnam, and he actually married a woman over there, a younger woman. And over the years, they haven't been able to get her over here. She's still over there. They've been married for close to 10 years now, probably. He's probably going to move over there for a number of months each year and then come back and forth. But anyway, they've been trying to get her over here. It's just been really hard. They can't. It seems impossible. So anyway, he had the divorce. He had payments to make to his wife. So he had to take a second job at night at FedEx. And for years, I didn't really see him hardly at all because we used to do stuff at night, and he couldn't do anything at night because he was at FedEx. But he quit FedEx like within the last year. He retired from his job at IBM. Now he's working for another company that is essentially IBM, but it's not officially IBM. And so Wednesday nights we get to hang out together, and it's just like the old days. It's even better now because he's been through his thing, I've been through my thing, and now I'm there for him anyway because he lives alone. He gets down. He doesn't have anyone to talk to. His life is, he listens to music a lot. He knows a lot about all kinds of music. It's incredible. So I'm there for him now. He's there for me. Like, we have a good time. So that's I'm not sure what the point of all that was, but I guess what it maybe is like when you get through this, you're different in good ways, in very good ways. So I guess that was the point of all that talk. Let me see something else. I saw recently, and every once in a while somebody they'll send me something that someone wrote about this. It has to do with brain shrinkage and withdrawal. Benzos calls brain shrinkage. And I've addressed this question many times. Like from my study of the neuroscience and so forth, that really does not appear to be a problem at all. It's not, the benzos, it does not appear as though they affect the gross anatomy of the brain. That's not what's happening. But anyway, what people typically do will say, they will talk about them. Barry Haslam, who went through benzo withdrawal when he lived in the UK, and he does a lot of work, for people in withdrawal now. He's part of the cause now. He had an MRI done, and it shows brain shrinkage. And is that from the benzos or something else? You can't say specifically, but it's very common for a person as they age for their brain to shrink. Your brain literally shrinks. He's not, I don't know how old Barry is. He's probably older than I am. So my brain probably has shrunk since I was a young man too. I'm 62 years old. And I did drink a lot too. So, my brain seems to be working quite well, so I don't think that's a big deal. But I know when you're in withdrawal, it's very scary to think like, wow, my brain's, it's smaller than it was. Ben's, I'm never going to get well. And I understand that perfectly. So another thing I wanted to say about that was something that I had said a number of videos ago. Instead of fearing what it might be, face what it is. And I put that in I think it was my first paper. And in order to face what it is, you have to know what it is. And that's why somebody figuring out with neuroscience and molecular biology what it actually is, what's going on, it's important. But that's to the heart of the matter as far as people in withdrawal right now and getting some sort of help other than just waiting to recover if there were something else based on the molecular biology that you could do or the genetics, then that would be a good thing. So I think it's very important, to figure out what it is, and then you can kind of go from there. Okay, let me see what I got here with time. Okay, 11 minutes, good. Okay, I got some emails. Let me see. One is from a lady named Karen. She lives in London. And we'll talk about this one a little bit. There was something that I had wanted to talk about before I got her email that I was going to, was just something that kind of off the top of my head I was going to talk about since I hadn't received too many emails, but we'll talk about this one, okay? This is from Karen. She's in the UK. Hello, Dawn. Hope you're well. I'm in an absolute state of panic recently as my depersonalization and derealization has ramped up to a level that I didn't know existed. I literally feel like I'm on some crazy bad acid trip, or that I'm Alice in Wonderland, and it's all a scary dream that I can't wake up from, where everything looks so unreal and looks either really close up or really far away to me. I feel weightless, dizzy, and lightheaded. I stand up and feel about 20 feet tall, or sit down and feel like the room is swallowing me up. I also feel like the sofa floor or bed is moving slowly. It's awful. I'm 9 months off Zoloft now, and my symptoms are changing. I had the detached feelings, etc. before this, constant and terrifying now. I am unbelievably hypersensitive to light and noise, and all noises are just jumbling into one huge racket of awfulness, which is giving me panic attacks. Even the birds singing sounds too loud, and I sometimes have to wear sunglasses indoors. In London, haha. I work from home, but am now stopping completely because I can't concentrate for a second, and I see things out of the corner of my eyes, like the wooden door will flash red. I am terrified. Please, Dawn, do you think this is the verge of psychosis, or is this normal? I am not coping well at all now and really feel that I can't go on much longer. I have a lot of other new symptoms as well now, but I won't get into them. The akathisia is not here at the moment, so that is a good thing at least. Thank you always. Okay, Karen. Okay, the DPDR is a biggie. I talked about that one the last time. Have ramped up to a level I didn't know existed. It can get really, really bad. I get lots of emails about DPDR. It's a very, very disturbing set of symptoms. And then when you're emotionally in a bad place too, that just really magnifies it. It did for me. I could cope with the DR without the other emotional stuff, but when you got the depression and the fear, it's very, very disturbing. I know. A crazy acid trip, or that I'm Alice in Wonderland. Well, as long as you don't see a hookah smoking caterpillar, I think it'll be okay. That's supposed to be funny. Scary dream, can't wake up from. Okay, the everything looking so unreal, close up, far away. I had that sort of thing for me was more when I was standing, and you do talk about the 20 feet tall here. I remember from the very beginning in 1997, I would get feelings like that. I'd be out walking, it was like I was extra tall and everything else was just like I was way up there, which I really wasn't, but I would get that, and that was when I was polydrugged and things. I drank a lot then too. but that's pretty common. I had that, the weightlessness, dizzy, lightheaded. Yes, I had, along with the DR, the derealization, I was dizzy all the time. Like balance was bad. Felt like I was going to fall over sideways all the time. Okay, the visual stuff. I didn't have too much of that, but a lot of people do. In particular, back a couple weeks, well, I guess he left about a little bit over a year ago, but our church had a vacant parsonage a few years ago. And I convinced the church board to allow someone in withdrawal to come here and stay in that parsonage. And the plan was for me to have 2 or 3 people to get in there so they could help each other and validate each other. I only got permission to have him, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But this particular gentleman had a lot of physical stuff. He had a lot of physical pain, burning, aching, all kinds of stuff like that. But he also had, I remember sometimes when he would come, I would come there and stay. I was usually stay down in the family room, and if he felt up to it, he would come down and talk to me. He had a lot of the visual stuff, things especially that had texture, like carpet. The carpet, he said, it always looked like it was moving. Lines and things on the wall, like the lines looked like they were wiggling. He used that word, wiggling, like they're wiggling back and forth. And I think he even had like lights flashing and stuff sometimes. I think he told me about that too, and I've heard that from other people. So this is really common. Interestingly, this gentleman also took Zoloft for quite some time and came off of that. So maybe that had something to do with the visual part of his too, the visual symptoms. I don't know, but I don't know a lot about. I know there are depression groups too, and I'm sure they have a lot of the same symptoms as they are in withdrawal, but I'm sure they have some that are different too. But overall, the molecular biology, the damage that has been done, as far as like molecular biology and neuroscience, it's similar. It's a similar kind of thing, I think. Different receptors and so forth, different neurotransmitters, but I think it's essentially the same sort of thing. But I have heard of all of these symptoms that you're talking about. Some, like for me, weren't common, but I have heard them from other people. Detached feelings, yes, that's like the derealization, like disconnect. Hypersensitive to light. I was sensitive to light, but that was not one of my really bad symptoms. Noises, yes, very, very much. I had a horrible time with noises, like jumbling, like noises that just they didn't even have to be loud noises. And one I have mentioned before quite a bit is, I can remember when, like, I would be laying in bed at night and I would hear a tiny little click from the thermostat, like the heat coming on in the room, and I would almost jump out of bed. It just would terrify me, and it's almost not audible. Probably my wife probably didn't even hear it. It's almost inaudible, but it would just set me off. I remember after my whole thing started, I quit drinking and I went into withdrawal, and after a number of weeks, I decided, like in the hallway and in one of the walls of our living room, we were going to take the wallpaper off. So I ripped it off. I could barely, the derealization was horrible then. And I thought, well, how am I going to get, like, there's like that paste, that glue underneath. And I decided, instead of like putting water on it and sponging it off, which makes a huge mess, I would just sand it. Big mistake. The sanding noise just drove me insane. I didn't even get it all off. I painted the whole, I can go out there now and like, you can still see like there's glue under there because I didn't want to use the water because it'd make a mess, and I couldn't, the sanding, it just got to be it was unbearable. So I painted a lot of it, and if you go up there and feel with your hand, there's glue there. It's, sounds, birds, I remember the birds too. Many, many mornings in the spring, I would lay here in this bed right here, where the computer is right now. And we have trees out there, like in the neighbor's yard, big trees, lots of birds, and they would just they would like tweet and just drive me nuts. To of course I'm not in a withdrawal. It's probably very pleasant and nice sound, but to me it was driving me crazy. Very common. And along with that, the crows. Like throughout my withdrawal, we have crows around here, and like they would call and just oh, it's horrible. They would terrify me. They would terrify me. I thought somehow I connected them to something evil, like it was just like the devil, like is taunting me, telling me I'm never going to be well. So that's the noise thing is very common. Okay, working from home. I know another person in withdrawal right now who is working from home, who is struggling. She somehow is able to do it. I think she sells things to companies over the phone or something. But I don't know if I could have worked from home or not. Very, very difficult. I know some people can do it. Some people can actually go to a job, and that's incredible to me because I had to retire. I had to quit work because I couldn't do it. I don't think I could have worked from home. So that in itself is impressive. You're terrified. I know. It's just horrible. It's a horrible place to be. I don't think you're on the verge of psychosis. Well, psychosis has lots of different definitions, but you're not losing your mind. These are very real things. You feel like you're losing your mind. I swore I was losing my mind at the beginning of my experience, and that was the most terrifying thing. I thought that I was going insane, but I wasn't. It just feels that way. I hear it from so many people that they think they're going crazy, but they're not. So that's just one of the fears of withdrawal. Okay, can't go on much longer. Yeah, I know that feeling. Believe me. Survival. It's just survival. I know it's hard. I know a lot of new symptoms. Acrothesia is not so bad now. That's a good thing. Okay. So yeah, it's hard, but these are all very common symptoms. They really are. See what else? I want to talk about something else too. I can't recall. I was watching last night. Pittsburgh Penguins won the Eastern Conference of the NHL, so they're going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, and that's cool. And I got a message this morning from someone who's a Chicago Blackhawk fan, but they decided just to taunt me. They're going to root for San Jose Sharks. We're going to be playing the Penguins for the Stanley Cup. So she is about, I think, 15 months off now. She gets windows and she gets times where she's pretty good, but she still feels off and like has a depression, the anhedonia. She can't feel like good things and have like laugh and joke. But for some reason this morning I was thinking about her, and she. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. I know a lot of people message me and want to talk and so forth, but I can't. It's hard for me to talk because there's so many people. I will basically talk to certain people that I've been talking to for a long time. But other people, like I'll usually talk once or twice, and I know that seems maybe cruel or insensitive, but I can't. It just takes so much time, and that really, honestly, is part of why I do the videos. I can at least I'm talking to a whole bunch of people at once. Anyway, the videos, here's where it came from. The videos, actually, somebody who was in Dr. Jen's group when she decided she was going to take a break, she had heard of me, and she actually did a search and hunted me down. Good, this is the same woman that's going to root for the San Jose Sharks. She hunted me down, and we talked a while, a few times, and she said you should do videos. So you can kind of thank her for the videos. She's the one that actually, because I thought I can't do videos, you're crazy, but I can do videos. That's just, I do okay, I guess. You can thank, her name is Loretta. You can thank Loretta. So I did want to talk about that a little bit. That's what that was all about. So okay, I'm closing in on 25 minutes here. I'm gonna go pick up my grandson Oog. Not sure what he's gonna want to do. He might want to go outside and look for worms. I don't know. He loves worms and bugs and all that stuff. But it's closing in on 90 degrees here now. So I think maybe we'll go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a frozen sherbet or something. I'm not sure. That sounds more relaxing to me. Um, anyway, weekend coming up here. I know weekends are tough. It's spring. Maybe something good will happen, and you have a little bit of pleasure over this weekend. I'll try to get back here maybe during the weekend. I don't know. I kind of would like to go to an AA meeting tonight. And sometimes they discuss things or say things that are interesting and sort of apply to benzos, withdrawal, which you can relate to. So maybe I'll come back and talk a little bit about that. Memorial Day weekend. Maybe you can all get out and do a little something there. I know it's hard when it's a vacation weekend and a holiday weekend and you're kind of stuck. So anyway, I better sign off here now. Hang in there. It's gonna get better. I promise. There's good stuff on this side, and I'm waiting here along with a number of other people who are waiting here, and we'll certainly be glad when you're here with us. So take care. I'm right here. Bye bye.